Okay, you guys, so sorry about that. I didn't realize that my computer was going to only record for a certain length of time. So let's go ahead, let's finish up this section, and then I'm gonna try to cut each problem after this. So, and the only things that I had left to explain in this little box is we know that all three of these lines that I have highlighted are going to be parallel. So MN is going to be parallel to RA, and it also will be parallel to TP as well. Okay, so all those lines are parallel. And then we actually have a formula for the midsegment. Actually, in bullet number 2, it says the length of the midsegment is half of the sum of the lengths of the bases. So what that means is if I want to find MN, then I'm going to take RA, which is my first base, plus TP, my second base, and if I multiply that by 1/2 or divide it by 2, I am going to end up getting my answer or my length of my midsegment. All right, so I actually want to skip over problem 2 for the time being, just because I think I'm on a bit of a time limit. So let's skip to, sorry about that, the top of the next page. So instead of going through and filling out the reasons for you guys, I want to just go through it and show you the process. If you look back, I'm going to do this a slightly different way. If you look back, you can use this to help you as well. But honestly, either way you do it, you're going to get the same answer. So I'm going to go with the way that I think makes a little bit more sense. So MN is the midsegment of our trapezoid, and we want to find X so that we can find MN. So the way that I would do this is I would go back to that formula that we just came up with, and they use almost the same letters, so this is going to be helpful. They said that MN is going to be equal to 1/2 of the length or the sum of the two lengths of the bases. So QR in this case plus PS. Those are our bases. There you go. Now you can see everything. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to substitute in the values that I know. I'm going to get an algebraic expression that I can then solve for X. Sorry about that, guys. I must be getting an email. All right, so I'm going to plug everything in and see what I get. So MN is 2X plus 11 in my picture. I'm going to leave the 1/2 the same. And then QR is 10 and PS is 8X minus 12. Okay, so I have my equation all set up. Now there's a few ways you can do this from here. You can either multiply everything by 2 and get rid of the 1/2, or after we combine our like terms, we can just distribute the 1/2, which honestly is maybe a little bit faster. So I'm going to go that route, but you can multiply both sides by 2 and get rid of the 1/2 that way, as long as you make sure that you distribute it to everything on the left-hand side. But just to save some time, since apparently it's not going to record indefinitely, I'm going to simplify my like terms inside the parentheses on the right-hand side first. So I have 10 minus 12, which is going to give me a -2. So I have 8x minus 2. Now, because these are all even numbers, I can distribute by 1/2, which is the same as dividing each one by 2. So when I distribute my 1/2 on the right-hand side, I'm going to get 1/2 of 8 is 4, so I have 4x, and 1/2 of 2 is going to be 1. I keep the negative sign, and now I am done with the fraction. Okay, and then from there, I am going to combine my like terms. So I'm going to subtract over the 2x, and I get 11 equals 2x minus 1, add over the 1, and I get 12 equals 2x, and from here we divide both sides by 2, and we get x is 6, which is part of what I needed. I know what x is now, so I can go back and plug x in for mn in the expression and find out what mn actually is. So mn, the expression that they gave us, is 2x plus 11. So mn in this case is going to be 2 times 6 plus 11, which is the same as 12 plus 11, which is going to give me 23. So mn is 23. Now, since I have a little bit of time, it doesn't look like my video is going to shut off too quickly. I want to go back to this step and explain what I meant by you could also do this a different way. So if I decided that I don't want to deal with trying to multiply the fraction through, what I could do instead is, actually, I'm going to move it down here. At that step, I could go back and I could multiply everything by 2 on both sides. Now, if I multiply by 2 over here, on the right, all it's going to do is cancel out my fraction, okay? It doesn't change the 8x minus 2, but I would have to distribute that 2 on the left to everything on that side. So I would still end up with 2 times 2x is 4x, and then 2 times 11 would be 22, and then on this side I would just have 8x minus 2. I would subtract over my 4x, and then I add over my 2, and I get 24 equals 4x. Divide both sides by 4, I still get x equals 6. And so either way you do it is fine. It really does not matter which way you choose to do it, okay? You'll end up with the same number either way, whatever you feel more comfortable with. All right, so all that being said, it looks like it's not going to shut off on me. So I'm going to keep going and see how far I can get. So that is problem number 3. Now I want to move on to the kites because kites are a little bit different. They do not have any parallel lines. So basically, if a quadrilateral is a kite, the only thing that's super special about them is that their diagonals are perpendicular. And a kite looks exactly like you would think it would.